Broncos country, welcome back to another video. And when you're watching this, we are less than 24 hours away from kickoff for the Broncos for week one. I'm so excited that football season is back. How about you guys? I'm sure you all are. And this video is one that I typically release a little bit earlier. Typically, I release it after the third and final preseason game, but I forgot. I had other videos come out, and I was just honestly procrastinating. I was planning on recording this earlier, but my alma mater and my college football team, Oklahoma State, we were sweating it out. And I was sweating out watching that game, it went into double overtime. We pulled out the dub, though. So, yeah, I was just stressing about that over our victory over Arkansas. But, yeah, in this video, we're going to be going over our 2024-25 season award predictions for the Denver Broncos. So if you're an outside fan watching this thinking, oh, this is going to be the Offensive Rookie of the Year, this is going to be like, oh, yeah, Caleb Williams, Byron Murphy, this is going to be the MVP, is going to be Mahomes. No, this is just solely going to be focusing on the Denver Broncos roster themselves, and I'm going to be giving my team award predictions. So yeah, that's what this video is going to be. If you do enjoy, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel down below, as the support is greatly appreciated. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers soon, so if you could help me reach my goal, that would mean the absolute world to me. And as always, before we get started, I just want to remind you that no matter who you are, Jesus loves you and that he is king. And with that being said, let's go ahead, let's jump straight in to my award prediction video. Starting off with the most improved player, I'm going with Riley Moss. Now, Riley Moss didn't really get any playing time last year. That's why he is on this list. Of course, he was a third-round pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. Sean Payton traded up with the Seahawks to draft Riley Moss, giving up a future third, which was a third in the 2024 draft class. Now, Moss started the season last season off with an injury. Then he came back and was mostly a special teamer, not really getting many defensive snaps. Now, he did get some, but not a whole lot. And out of camp, he has won the cornerback 2 job opposite of Pat Surtain. So here is what the cornerback room looks like. You got Pat Surtain, and you got Pat Surtain as a CB1, obviously. Jaquan McMillan in the slot. Riley Moss is going to be CB2, and I think they're going to give him every opportunity to be the CB2 of the future. But, if he does struggle, we do have the veteran and Levi Wallace to take over. Then there's Chris Abrams-Drain, who's going to be more of a slot guy, but I think after watching him in the preseason, he could be CB2 potentially as well. And then Tremon Smith. But I'm predicting that Riley Moss is going to be the most improved player this season. Do I think he's going to maybe be like Pat Surtain level? Well, I hope so, but I'm more expecting him to be an upper echelon CB2, someone who can play as your CB1, but you like as your CB2. That's kind of what I'm expecting or hoping from Riley Moss. I'm not expecting him to be this elite corner like Pat Surtain is, but if he is, that would be great. But moving on to our next player, and this is going to be the comeback player of the year, and I am going with Greg Dulcich because Dulcich, throughout his entire NFL career so far, he has dealt with the injury bug. He's coming back this season, and I expect him to be our tight end 1 if he stays healthy, because he adds another dynamic level to the offense that our other tight ends just don't provide. Now, I have Donald Parham on here because I think that he could potentially be a very solid steal for the Broncos and could be our tight end 1 of the future, potentially. But I like Dulcich because he has this speed, this rack ability, this vertical threat ability at the tight end position. Now, he's not the strongest blocker, and so that's why, you'll see Troutman, Krull, Atkins get these opportunities because of their ability to block. But I really like the versatility and the upside that Greg Dulcich brings as a receiver at the tight end position. Does need to improve on his blocking. But with him only playing in, 2 games last season, I feel like he was the obvious choice for comeback player of the year for the Denver Broncos. Next up, we have defensive rookie of the year, and I am going with third-round pick Jonah Elliss. Now, this could be a couple different guys. Well, a couple more like 2. It's between Jonah Elliss and Chris Abrams-Drain, in my opinion. There's some other guys that you could look at in undrafted free agency, maybe like Lavelle Bailey, who is now on the practice squad. But realistically, I see it being Jonah Elliss because with our current cornerback room, I don't know how much playtime Chris Abrams-Drain is going to get in year 1. And the same thing could be said about Jonah Elliss as in the edge rush room, because how much time will he be rotated in? but this edge rushing room does rotate quite a bit. There's no, well, I'd say Baron Browning is the edge one, but I feel like he is rotated in and out with Nick Benito and with Jonathan Cooper. I do think Jonah Ellis could make an impact and could get a substantial amount of, oh my goodness, I can't say that word right now, substantial amount of playing time in his rookie season as the season goes on. There we go. I got it. But Jonah Ellis is my pick. The other option would be Chris Abrams-Drain, but I do think it's going to be Jonah Ellis this season. That's my defensive rookie of the year pick for the Denver Broncos. Next up is my offensive rookie of the year pick, and it's going to be Bo Nix. I mean, let's not beat around the bush here. It's going to be Bo Nix no matter what happens this season. I feel like he's the starting quarterback. He's going in week 1, and he is the franchise quarterback of the future. Now, hopefully he plays well, but I do expect him to make a major impact on the organization this year and on the team this year as the quarterback one. Of course, Zach Wilson and Jarrett Stidham are there, but Bo Nix is the quarterback one starting, and I expect him to start for the entire NFL season. The other options you could go with Troy Franklin, who was obviously the 4th-round pick, teammates with Bo Nix. I don't know how much playing time he's going to get, though. And then you jump to Audric Estime. I don't know how much playing time he's going to get as a running back to make an impact like Bo Nix would make to win Offensive Rookie of the Year for the Broncos. So I think it's going to be Bo Nix. And then you look, I guess Devon Vele could also be in that conversation. Nick Gargiulo, he's on the practice squad, but I don't really see any offensive linemen being that Rookie of the Year. Frank Crum made the team. There's some guys, but realistically, out of the draft class that are going to make an instant impact year one to win that Rookie of the Year award for the Broncos, to me, it's going to be Bo Nix, clearly. And then on the defensive side, it's a little bit harder to kind of predict. But for me, Bo Nix is going to be the Offensive Rookie of the Year for the Broncos this season. Moving on to the Defensive Player of the Year. This is tough because, well, I'll just spoil it. Pat Surtain is going to be my MVP. But when a player wins a Defensive Player of the Year, or more commonly, Offensive Player of the Year, they're not going to be the MVP. For example, or I guess vice versa. For example, when Patrick Mahomes, when he wins the MVP, when Lamar Jackson won the MVP last season, they also weren't the Offensive Player of the Year. Now, they probably should have been. Well, they technically are because they're the MVP, but they go and they give it to a different player. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm giving it to Zach Allen. I think he is going to make an impact, not only in helping the Broncos stopping the run, but also providing that pass rush. He started off pretty slow last season, but then started to pick it up as the season went on, and he looked really, really solid as defensive end position in the 3-4 defense that Vance Joseph runs. Now, in that room, you got John Franklin Myers as well, who I think could also compete for this Defensive Player of the Year award. DJ Jones, Iomo Wazurike, Malcolm Roach, and Jordan Jackson. There's a couple other guys, maybe you go one of the safeties and Brandon Jones or PJ Locke. Maybe it's one of the linebackers, one of the edge rushers. All those options would be solid, but I'm going with Zach Allen as my Defensive Player of the Year for the Broncos. Now moving on to the Offensive Player of the Year, I'm going with Courtland Sutton. To me, I feel like Sutton is going to be the obvious answer because it's hard to quantify offensive linemen winning this award. And to me, I think you could easily, if you wanted to go the offensive line route, I could easily understand the argument for Quinn Miners or Garrett Bowles. Heck, even maybe Mike McGlinchey if he has a bounce-back season. But to me, I think you have to go with one of the weapons, and I'm not sure about our tight ends. I had Greg Dulcich winning Comeback Player of the Year. Is he going to be Offensive Player of the Year worthy? And then you look at the weapons, you got Sutton, you got Reynolds, you got Mims. But to me, I think Courtland Sutton's going to make the biggest impact. I guess running back as well. You could have Javonte, you could have Jaleel. But I think Courtland Sutton is going to make the biggest impact. He's going to be Bo Nix's best friend as the number one target. Get him that veteran receiver who catches a lot of things, does have some concentration drops, but every receiver does in the league. And most receivers do that in the league. But yeah, he's for the most part got sure hands. And if you want to throw him a 50-50 ball for him to jump up and go and catch, he's going to come down with it. So Courtland Sutton is my prediction for Offensive Player of the Year for the Broncos. Sorry. And now finally, my MVP, that is going to be Pat Surtain, another corner. And I don't think this should be a surprise to anybody. I think Bo Nix, you could make the argument. That's being pretty bold, though, but I like the boldness if you go in that direction. I was a little tempted to go in that direction myself, quite frankly, but it's just so hard to pass up Pat Surtain, who got that extension to be the highest paid corner in the league until Jalen Ramsey beat it. But Pat Surtain is more than deserving of that contract, and also he's the best player on the team. I think he's going to have the biggest impact on the team, shutting down the wide receiver ones throughout the season. Week 1, he's going up against DK Metcalf. Week 2, he's probably going to be going up against George Pickens. Week 3 in Tampa Bay, going to be going up against Mike Evans. With the Raiders, you got to go up against Devontae Adams twice. You know, the Chiefs, who knows who he's going to be going up against, whether it's going to be Travis Kelce or Xavier Worthy. You get my point. Pat Surtain is going to be lining up against the number 1 wide receivers, and he is going to shut them down. Now, he might not fully shut them down, but he's going to make an impact, and he's going to be able to cover these elite wide receivers that other teams have that would normally do damage against a lot of teams. Pat Surtain is going to be able to deal with him. So he is going to be my MVP pick for the Broncos. But let me know what your predictions are in the comment section below. If you did enjoy, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. The season's almost here. And yeah, I had so much fun making my video that I uploaded before this one, which was it was the preview. Love making the preview videos, love making the template and then recording those. Then I'm planning on doing a post-game report as well as a stock up and stock down for the Broncos after every single week. So football season is back. I'm going to try and grind this season because I want to hit 1,000 subscribers. That's one of my goals. So yeah, if you could help me reach that, that would be super awesome. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Parker, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.